Good morning and welcome to the Big Story segment of the BDTV Breakfast Show. I am Deborah Ezeh. Today we are focusing on one of Nigeria's greatest assets, its young people. Nearly 70% of our population is under 30, a figure often described as both a blessing and a ticking time bomb. The big question is, how can Nigeria turn this youthful population into real economic strength, what experts call the demographic dividend, instead of allowing it to become a demographic burden? From education and skill development to job creation, innovation, and governance, there's a lot at stake. If we get it right, Nigeria could be sitting on an economic gold mine. If we get it wrong, the challenges of unemployment, insecurity, and brain drain could deepen. Joining me to unpack this is Dr. Vincent Nwanma. He's a researcher and public affairs analyst. Good morning, Dr. Vincent. Thank you for joining us on Big Story this morning.
Thank you, Deborah. God bless you. It's my pleasure to be here again on your platform.
Likewise, ours. So let's quickly dive into it. Nigeria youth population is often described as its greatest strength. So from your research, what exactly does it mean to unlock a demographic dividend?
Thank you. What that means in a nutshell is to bring these assets or these assets into a productive use. It's just like a company that has a very robust balance sheet. On one side, you have your assets, and of course, the other side, you have your liability. But the assets are lying fallow. They are not being utilized. That company is on its way to extinction because it's not generating any value. So our youth are the assets that we can deploy to create the value that this country so badly needs. The youth, their zeal, their ability to work, the ability to create things, the ability to take risks, the ability to reason, to network, and to create something out of all the resources that Nigeria has. That is what we are talking about, to utilize this youthfulness before they join the group or the bracket that is no longer as active as they are now. That's okay. What, in a nutshell, that's what it means.
Okay, so moving forward, where would you say Nigeria currently stands? Do you think we are closer to reaping that dividend, or are we risking a demographic crisis?
No, we are not there yet, because otherwise we will see the structures in place, we'll see the systems in place that will galvanize
If you can still hear us, Dr. Vincent.
the energies of the way our system, our economy, our country is right now, because many of them do not have yet the access to being part of the productive system in the economy. Many of them are unemployed. Many do not have the relevant skills. Many do not have the education. And so we are not in any way close to where we should be in terms of engaging the energies of the young people, because many lack access to education. Many lack access to jobs. Many lack these relevant skills that are needed for the economy of today, which has been described as the knowledge-based economy, and also the relevant skills. These are the things that determine whether a particular group of people are included or excluded from the productive processes in the economy. If you look at what we are talking about, 5 years ago, a statistic said that 50% of Nigerian young people were unemployed. 50%. If you exclude half of them, so where are they featuring? Where is their foothold on the economy? what would they be contributing? And today, I don't want to hazard the percentage. The point is that a majority of these people are either unemployed, wrongly employed, or underemployed. So what it means is that most of them are not where they should be. They're not doing what they should be doing. They're not contributing what they should be contributing to the economy. And so you see them being dependent on the rest of the society. And as you said in your introduction, that could spell disaster. That could spell misfortune for the country. Whereas if we just do a few things, if we turn a few things around, we'll get them involved and they will latch onto that and become productive in the economy. So we are not there yet. If I want to score, probably 40% or even less in terms of where we should have them operate from, probably 40%.
Okay, but you can agree with me that many young Nigerians are actually educated, but employers say that they lack the right skill. Education now is not the problem, but the right skill. So what kind of policy shift or investment do you think is needed to bridge this gap?
Thank you. That is the crux of the matter, Deborah. That is the crux of the matter. Yes, many Nigerians have gone to school. Many young people have education, but in most cases, it is the wrong education they have acquired or insufficient education. Insufficient not in terms of the number of degrees or even degrees, but insufficient in relevance. In relevance. Relevance must be the watchword today. Yes, someone has gone to university and obtained a degree. I don't want to mention any particular discipline here, but that certificate you take to an interview session, when they open their door and they bring you into that company, what would that certificate you are carrying? How will it translate to value for that company? That is the issue. So we must move from certification to skills, skill acquisition, relevance in today's economy. We are talking about the technology, where we are talking about productivity, where we are talking about creativity, where we are talking about bringing sector that don't exist now into existence as far as they are able to create value for the nation and for the rest of the world. So yes, many Nigerians, and of course, you know, our universities are holding graduation ceremonies now and again. How many of them are ready and available to be absorbed into the relevant sectors of today, into the ICT sector of the economy, into the growth sectors of the economy? Because no employer will just give you employment letter and you come and sit down, you're not contributing anything to the growth of that company, and then from there to the economy in general. They want you to come in and be part of the productive system and create value so that that company, the balance sheet will grow, their value will grow, the export will grow, and their supply of goods and services will grow for the economy. So if we don't turn around our educational system and complement certification with skills acquisition, we are getting it wrong. And in terms of policy, Deborah, what that calls for is that those who are saddled with the responsibility of managing the economy must begin to think seriously about skills. What sectors are the growth centers today, and how can we create the relevant personnel, the relevant people to work in those? What skills are needed? We have to do an audit, as it were, of our skill set in the country, depending on where we want this economy to go. Yes, we want to be one of the for example, we are targeting a $1 trillion economy. What sectors will contribute to that? And as of today, what skill sets do we have that we can deploy to attract the kind of investment in the sectors that we create this thing? And then we do an audit, a realistic audit of the skills we need and we have now, establish the gap and ask ourselves, how do we bridge this gap? That is what we must do as thinkers. And by the way, I belong to the group now we call Yaba School of Thought, who are asking the question, who is thinking for Nigeria? We must think in this fashion. We want to be here. We want to be a growing economy. In today's global economy that is technology driven, what skills are needed to achieve that? How much of those skills do we need? Do we have now? And we establish the gap. And then we ask ourselves, how do we fill that gap over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years, over the next 20 years, 50 years? Then that is the journey that will take us out of where we are and begin the journey of where we want to be. Anything short of that will continue the journey of, a secular movement that has kept us where we are. We must redesign our curriculum. We must redesign our teaching methods. We must redesign even the curriculum of the institutions that produce those who teach. If we don't change the way we teach, the way we produce graduates, we will continue to produce certificate carriers and not skill carriers. That is the truth.
Okay. Dr. Vincent, you talked about skill. Now let's look at the creative sector. We understand that AI and automation are actually reshaping jobs globally. So what future-proof skill should Nigeria be prioritizing for its young population?
I read a story last night about a young guy, I think an Indian, who moved to the States in 2017 for his undergraduate education. That guy finished, and he said, he has worked in a couple of companies here. And today he said he is making a certain amount of money per week because of his shift to AI. Nigeria must sit down to look at this move called AI and decide how we can latch onto it and become part of it. Our young people must be trained, must be knowledgeable in the capabilities that AI possesses, that they can unleash onto the economy and create values. Let me remind you, in 1997, I attended a conference in Canada called Global Knowledge Conference, organized by the World Bank and the Canadian government. I was living in Ghana then. That program was convened to discuss what everybody today is enjoying, the emergence of the internet as of then in 1997. What is this thing? It was then called the superhighway. How would the global economy, the rest of the world, be part of it? That is the kind of thing, that is the kind of conference, that is the kind of discussion that should be going on in the circle of our policymakers. How can our young people, with all the zeal they have, with all the abilities they have, how can they become part of this move called artificial intelligence? That's what AI stands for.
Okay.
And know every aspect of it that they can understand and then deploy to enhance their creativity, to enhance their ability to produce things that don't exist now. That's what it means. These things cannot just, it won't happen in a vacuum. Right. We have to be intentional about it. We have to plan about it. We have to discuss about it and come out with a national policy, for example, and say, this is our stand on artificial intelligence. Yeah, it has its own demerit, but everything, just like the internet, when it was emerging, many people did not understand it. But today, I don't think there's any country that is not part of it. That's the way we must handle artificial intelligence as it emerges. There must be a policy, even if it means creating a new department, wherever, a ministry or so, that we sit down and understand it first.
Okay.
And then bring our young people into it as a matter of national policy.
Okay, so
and
now
define what we want to achieve by it.
let's now bring it to the economy. Last week, you wrote a comprehensive piece and you titled it Path to Economic Transformation is in Building New Cities and Not Creating State. Now, can you walk us through what informed this thought?
Thank you. Since I was a young person, when I was born, Nigeria had 3 regions. And then we added another one, became 4 regions. And then from 4 regions, we went to 12 states. From 12 states, we went to 19 states. From 19 states, we went to 21 states. Today we have 36 states. On each occasion, when these states were being created, there were agitations. Oh, we want the government closer to our people. We want to bring development closer to our people. Live today. What you see more is the absence of government than its presence. And so the agitation for state creation most of the time is an elite thing. People want to be governor, people want to be representatives of their states and so on. In most cases, these things leave the people untouched. People still live on the fringes of the big cities. Unlike what is happening today, other approach to real development, which is creating cities, helping even modernizing the existing cities, create cities with a purpose. We can create specialized cities. We can create ICT cities. We can create cities that can be designated for a particular sector, a particular trade, and build the relevant industry around it. There's something known as agglomeration. When you, for example, we can decide that let's look for we have 6 zones today. Let each zone bring a place in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years, where we create a city in each of the zones, giving us say 6 cities, and let each city be linked to something that region is known for. And let's build a city that will capture the resources there, that will make use of those resources, and let other relevant industries rise around it. Let there be industries or companies that use similar resources. That's what agglomeration means. Let them sit in that city so that they can make use of, for example, power. They can make use of roads or light railways, or they can make use of other resources. When we use agglomeration as a hook for development, you see that city that is built in a place that may be a bush now, in the next 10 years, that city will expand. That city will help industries grow and spring up there. It will employ people. It will create jobs directly and indirectly. That's the approach. Instead of creating a state, and then we concentrate everything on the capital of that state. But when 10 kilometers from that state capital, you see poverty, you see penury. Even in the city there, in that state capital, you see slums developing. That is why we have slums all over our cities. But when we create cities with a purpose, you see that this city will become centers of growth, centers of employment, centers of development. That's what we should be doing.
That's
Understand?
what we should be
And then
doing.
you know that our young people will become part of this city. There will not be people who carry certificates to go and look for job in the ministries in the state capital. That's what we have had all these years. But if we can change our mentality and our approach to development, you see that our city will become centers of development and not centers of poverty and centers of contrast seekers. That's what I mean. And Egypt has done it. Other countries are doing it, creating new cities from nowhere. Of course, you know that Abuja was created out of nowhere as the national capital. Why haven't we done it again? But not just in the way Abuja was done. We must seek to create cities that have purpose. This city, this is your purpose. This city, this is your purpose. This is the reason why we are creating you, and we build the aspects of the economy around those cities. That's agglomeration. When similar institutions, sectors, companies co-locate, they will achieve so many benefits, including what we know as scale, economic scale. They'll be able to operate with reduced costs, and then profitability will increase.
Okay.
Our managers of economy must begin to look at this, and politicians must begin to look at this, and then subsume their own political interests under the overall interest of the economy and of the country. So that I know that they some of them derive joy when people carry certificates to them, so that they show their power. You must employ this person. He's from my constituency. We don't need that anymore. This economy is so big that if we plan it well, if we run it well, jobs. In fact, Nigeria will be looking for people from outside to come and help us to work. Our youth should not be running around, politicians looking for jobs. If we get it right.
I would have to hold your thoughts there, because you've been able to tell us what this would do. That's a failure of we not towing the path to economic transformation. What is going to do? So finally, one would actually think that with the way Nigeria is going, we would have done better. So in your view, what is the reason why this country isn't towing the path, but rather focusing on state creation? And what do you think is the way out?
Well, Deborah, as we round off from your end, the way out is to do those things we have not done. In Ghana, I lived in Ghana for 4 years as a journalist. There's what they know as the Sankofa bird. Sankofa bird is part of their mythology. And they say that that bird, if you look at the bird has his beak pointing towards his back. They say it represents a philosophy that said, in a hurry to come to the present, there are many things we forgot in the past. Let's go back and take those things and bring them, because because we made those things. That's why we have not done well. That's why we have not moved. That's why we have not reached where we should be. The first step is to, as I say, take an audit of what we have done in the past and what we are doing now, and then be honest with ourselves that we have not gotten it right. As I said, politicians cannot continue to mislead this country in terms of, we need this state, we need this state. That is personal interest masquerading as public interest. What we need is policy that will benefit the generality of the people instead of a few people. This is one of the litmus tests of public policy. If we execute this policy, how many people will it make better off and not making anybody worse off? Once we adopt that system, once we adopt this philosophy in terms of our policy making, we'll move forward.
All right, Dr.
We will move
Vincent.
forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Vincent Nwanma, for your insights on Big Story this morning.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm grateful.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And that's the much we can
Thank you.
take
Bye-bye.
on Big Story this morning. Up next is social listening. Do stay with us.